Tonight, we connect the dots between 4 bodies. That of Marius Van der Merwe, as well as 3 police officers found in a river in suspicious circumstances. Now, there are 2 things that are linking these deaths. That of a white Nissan NP200 and that of their investigations into Zama Zamas, otherwise known as illegal miners. This is an investigation that someone in South Africa does not want you to know. So immediately hit that like button and subscribe because we are going to get into it. Now, these are all just allegations. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, and this is based on media sources, which I've linked in my description section. Now, 41-year-old Marius Van der Merwe was the owner of QRF Task Team, and this is a task team that he formed, and he was taking down Zama Zamas all over Brakpan. He was known for it. He was clearing out Plastic City, which is an informal settlement linked to illicit mining operations, and he had a target on his back. And on Friday night, he walked out of a restaurant with his wife and his children after having what he did not know was his last meal. They drove home. Nothing unusual happened until they arrived home, and he tried to open his gate. He was struggling to open his gate at around 8 p.m. when attackers armed with AK-47s opened fire on him. Now, there were 2 shots that were fired, one in the leg and one in the head. And Marius did not die running. He died fighting. When police found him, his gun was cocked. The safety was off. He was seconds away from returning fire. And CCTV footage would show something chilling. He speaks to the men outside his home, as if he knew them. Then he reaches for his weapon, and it is simply too late. The attackers flee in a white Nissan NP200 bakkie, the same NP200 model that keeps surfacing in other deaths. Why? This was just 3 weeks after Marius testified as witness D before the Madlanga Commission in a case involving a Brakpan murder of a robbery suspect who died after allegedly being subjected to medieval persuasion techniques in the form of using a plastic bag. You can use your imagination. And an attempted police cover-up involving senior names was exposed by him. We know that he implicated Julius Mkhonasi in arriving at the scene, something that Julius Mkhonasi admits but denies any wrongdoing. And he was essentially told, Marius was told that he had to go and dump the body of this robbery suspect, which he did. He went and he dumped it into the lake. And afterwards, he reported this matter to the Hawks. He reported it to IPID. And he had a target on his back, as well as that of someone else who was present that night, Yaku Hanakom. Yaku Hanakom is also no longer with us, and we know that Marius and Yaku were key witnesses for the IPID investigation into the alleged wrongdoing of all these officers. Now, Marius had survived in another attempt on his life just weeks earlier. He was rammed by a white Mahindra. He was shot at and forced into a gunfight against 2 men. He said he was patrolling Plastic City and he took out his night vision. He was scouting the area out when all of a sudden this bakkie rammed at him. And Marius knew he was being hunted. He had refused police protection, and this is something that is not uncommon. It is very difficult to go into police protection. You have to uproot your whole life, your whole family's life. It is something that is extremely dangerous and extremely traumatic. And I think Marius thought that he was just going to take his own chances. And moments before he died, and this is where it gets chilling, because days before he died on Tuesday, he sent a desperate message to journalist Yusuf Abrami. I want my story to be public, he said. I have intelligence on state actors facilitating illegal mining. He was going to drop names. He was going to spill the tea for South Africa on these state actors who are facilitating Zama Zamas in South Africa. This is an international syndicate. And if what Marius is saying is true, people in our government are involved in an international syndicate worth billions. He claimed he was the person who also witnessed a Zama Zama being buried alive in Benoni, and he wanted to tell everything, his side of the story on TV Monday. It was going to happen tomorrow, but he never made it until Monday. While Marius was being hunted, 3 police constables who were investigating illegal mining vanished in May this year, and we know that their bodies were later recovered under very suspicious circumstances, which I'm going to go into. Now, these are all very young individuals, and their families have made it clear that they do not believe that this was some sort of accident. Boipelo, Senoge, Cebekhulu, Linda, Keamogetswe base. And they were last seen at a petrol station outside of Johannesburg. Then their phones went dark. Their tracking unit went dead, and CCTV footage shows something that will haunt this case forever. I'm going to clip it in here. A white Nissan NP200 pulls up next to their white VW Polo, pretends to refuel, and gets back in the NP200. Minutes later, the officers vanish. 6 days later, their bodies are found 70 kilometers away, underwater in the Hennops River. Their Polo is pulled out next. 2 more bodies found nearby. 1 police employee, another decomposed. The official police line: it looks like an accident until forensics are done. But families say the story does not match the evidence. They've pointed out a number of things. They were the wrong side of the vehicle was impacted. The officers were investigating Zama Zamas in a very sensitive operation. Sensitive intel was involved, and they were tracking down the leads. And a report was leaked to the media before the families were informed. This indicates to me that perhaps the SAPS were trying to take control of the narrative. This happened, remember, in May 2025. We did not have our Independence Day yet on the 6th of July when South Africa's Bay General Mkhonasi pulled the press conference. But South Africa is not convinced. Now, this is where everything snaps into focus. A white NP200 was seen at the petrol station that night that the officers disappeared, reported as the getaway vehicle in Marius's assassination. Now, this is the same model, the same pattern, and the same timing. There are many NP200s in South Africa, and we have to just ask ourselves this question: is this a coincidence? Do you think it is a coincidence? Comment below. Or do you think there is something going on here? Because these police officers were investigating Zama Zamas. Marius had just told the journalist that he wanted to come on national TV and tell us as South Africans who was involved in facilitating Zama Zama operations in South Africa, in our government. And next thing you know, everyone is dead. Is this a coincidence or a signature? Now, Marius was investigating Zama Zamas, and the 3 police officers were linked to Operation Umkhudi. This is a word in Zulu, which means to pull the plug. And this is a national operation that is cracking down on illegal mining, specifically Zama Zamas. Now, witness D, Marius was murdered. The 3 officers, they allegedly drowned, or were they silenced? Zama Zamas in areas like Plastic City in Brakpan operate under networks that are allegedly protected by high-level political figures, local police corruption, private security infiltrations, and state actors, according to Marius himself. He told Yusuf that he wanted to expose intelligence on state actors who facilitate illegal mining. Those are words of a man who knew that his time was running out. Now, who benefits from the death of witness D? We have 3 police officers dead. We have evidence lost underwater in their VW Polo, that it went off the road. We are going to do a deep dive in a video this coming up week on what exactly happened there. Reports withheld from families. Who panics when the truth reaches the commission? Who ordered the burial of a man alive in Benoni? And who gave the green light for the AK-47 execution? Who is protected by silence? South Africa, these cases are not isolated in my own opinion. They form a pattern, a trail, a message. Stay out of Zama Zama business or die. But we will not stay silent. If you want to listen to the full testimony that Marius gave before the commission, I've included the link below. And like, share, and comment your thoughts, because the more people who see this, it becomes harder for someone to bury the truth. We will get to it eventually. Thank you for listening.